Hello and welcome to the mill. I am your host, Dusty Crane, and today I had full intentions on looking at that January newsletter and kind of picking it apart. But we had a pretty good Stonemaier Facebook live cast on Wednesday, and I want to get into that. But first, I want to talk about the big news that was in that January newsletter, and that was the announcement that Natalia and Anna have got a book, the illustrators of Wingspan. Maybe it's Anna, not Anna. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Anna. But in any case, they got a deal with HarperCollins to do this great big, it's called Celebrating Birds. It is touted as a interactive field guide, and it has something like 100, I think it's at 170 pictures. And when we see these cards, we all marvel that they're really beautiful cards, but you don't really get an appreciation for all the detail that's there unless maybe you picked up one of their prints. This is going to be a larger book from what I understand, and we'll be able to see those cards. Now this focuses largely on North America, maybe entirely on North American birds, but it looks beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and throw some pictures up here on the screen and just let the pictures speak for themselves. Gorgeous, right? That is a tremendous opportunity for those ladies, and obviously they're very talented and they deserve the spotlight that they have today. Let's go ahead and get into the Wednesday live stream, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and let Jamie kick this off.
He says, going off of Board Game Arena, I think you once mentioned interest in working to add viticulture there. Is that still in your plans? Yes, that is one of the conversations I'm having right now with one of the digital developers that I'm trying to figure out. I'll make a note about that because they owe me an email. But that's one of the ones that I'm trying to get on there. I think that would work very well on Board Game Arena, and I would love to get viticulture there. However, in the meantime, it is available in a full AI digital version through Digidiced. So feel free to check that out. If you're itching to play viticulture with other people, you can get that app. It's a very well done app, and you can play it. But I would love to have it on Board Game Arena as well.
Okay, so Jamie talks about wanting to bring viticulture to Board Game Arena, but he has to talk to Digidiced. I'm imagining it's Digidiced since they made the game. They have the digital rights now. And so I really hope they're able to work that out. The way he kind of paused a little bit, the inflection in his voice seemed to indicate that maybe there's a little bit of a struggle there. Maybe they're not wanting to do it, but I mean they're different products, right? Digidiced has got a full AI product, and there's already digital versions of just the board game right out there on Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia. So it's not wildly different, but I can also understand them having put all that work into the full AI version of the game, that them maybe wanting to hold on to as much of those digital rights as they can. In fact, they probably weren't super psyched about the fact that they were already on Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator, but viticulture being the game it is, they probably went ahead and said, well, it's viticulture, so let's just go ahead and go through with it. In any case, though, I do hope that they're able to work it out, that they can get that to Board Game Arena, because I would love to see Stonemaier games out there, too. Speaking of viticulture and Stonemaier news, Jamie also had this to say.
Remington says, I hear there's a new viticulture expansion coming out. Will the Essential Edition box fit this new expansion along with the other expansions? That is a great question. I have an answer for that, but I am not comfortable answering that yet. And so I will say that we are working on a new expansion for viticulture, and we have a plan for those of you who want to ensure that everything will fit into a box. Yeah.
So viticulture legendary box confirmed or not? I got to thinking, oh, hey, a new big box, but I was talking to some friends about it on Facebook, and they mentioned, maybe it's just a larger expansion box, similar to the games that they mentioned were Gugong and Red Dragon Inn, having larger expansion boxes, and right there on the corner there, how does thumbs work? You can see the role player big box, and that actually came with the expansion Fiends and Familiars. I'm pretty sure that's the name of that expansion. But you had two options. You get a smaller box or a large box, and that large box actually holds all the role player content so far. So that's pretty cool. I could see them doing something like that, particularly with Jamie making mention of wanting to conserve where he's able to conserve. It is something that he thinks about in terms of board games and what happens when you're done playing them. I mean, hopefully you hang on to them for a very long time and they bring much joy to your house over many, 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 many years, and maybe they pass down. But the ones that don't, that's something that he thinks about. So maybe it's a larger expansion box. We will have to see. Speaking of boxes,
Fenna says, when are we getting a look at the design of the Wingspan big box? Yeah, we're working on a kind of a legendary box for Wingspan that has an organizer in it, no gameplay stuff, just a big empty box for you to put all your Wingspan stuff in that you already have and that you will get in the future. And Panda is working on the first draft of the prototype right now that they will send to me. I don't have a shipping notification for it yet, but it should be shipped to me sometime in January, and I'll share it and discuss it in the Wingspan Facebook group when that happens. It'll just be a big white box at that point, so it won't look all that special, but it'll be enough for us to go through and look at the various compartments in it to see if it's a good fit for Wingspan fans. Here, Dorte says, will the Wingspan big box fit previous card holders? Yes, that's a great question. So yeah, one of the things that in the initial discussion we had with Wingspan fans about the possibility of a Wingspan big box was some of them have already bought pretty expensive third-party inserts and trays and things like that. And so I have designed one of the layers of the big box to hold to be modular enough that you can just take out part of the organizer that we're going to include, and you can replace it with the organizer that you've already bought. So it's basically a space the size of the current Wingspan box that you can plop stuff in and out of. So it is modular in that way, allowing people to bring in inserts that they've already built or paid for. We are considering putting the punch board for the bird feeder in the Wingspan big box, just because we have heard that a lot of people have kind of worn through that component. And so while it is not a crucially important mechanism or component to actually playing Wingspan, I can see that people want a pristine version. So we're considering putting that in the big box, just kind of an extra copy of the bird feeder for those of you who want it. Because it is not actually particularly expensive to print, it's just expensive to ship. George says, how do I ensure the Wingspan big box will fit all the future expansions? I can't. I honestly can't. We're going to do our best to design it around the possibilities that we have for future expansions. We're going to design it to hold a ton of cards and to be modular enough to hold various types of components that we haven't even thought of yet, but I can't guarantee it. So we're going to do our best, and I'm going to make it clear that I can't guarantee that. But I think we need a solution now rather than waiting 5 years down the road until all expansions are done to make this box. And so I completely respect, George, if you decide Jamie can't guarantee it, I'm not going to buy it. Totally understand that. But we're going to do our best, and I think we're going to do pretty well to achieve that goal. Yeah. Tim also has a question about the Wingspan big box and organizer. He says, do you think you would decide not to add a component to a future expansion because it wouldn't fit? No, that's what I don't want to do. That's the risk here, Tim. That's a good question. I want to avoid that. I don't want to have to say to Elizabeth, no, we can't include this awesome component simply because it won't fit in the box. So we're going to try to make the box big enough and modular enough that we won't have to ask that question. But if Elizabeth comes to me in the future and says, Jamie, I really believe in this component, I think it will add something awesome to Wingspan, but it doesn't fit in the big box, I'm going to say, we're going to make it. We're going to do that. So I want to respect everyone who buys the big box through this upfront planning that we're doing, but I also want to respect Elizabeth and Wingspan fans in general. I think part of our unspoken agreement is that we're going to make the best possible stuff for Wingspan for you, and so I want to make sure that we can do that to the best of our ability for years to come with all these new expansions that we have coming out for every continent.
So that was a lot of Wingspan big box news right there, right? We know that he's going to be getting something from Panda soon, and it's probably going to be the organizer and the box, but he mentions it's not art, it's not fancy yet, it's just to make sure everything fits. So it'll be a white box, but he's going to show it off in the Wingspan forum. I think that's super cool. In some of the details that came out is he designed one of the layers to actually support the people that bought third-party organizers to begin with, so those will be supported. included. He also mentioned cardboard tower, bird feeder tower, dice tower included in there. Man, it's just a mouthful. But also, I appreciate how honest he was about, the question said, how can you make sure that all future content fits in this box? And him saying, you can't. I appreciate that he was right up front that says, we're going to make every effort to make sure this fits everything Wingspan going forward. But I don't think we can wait 5 years for this. I think we need it soon. And I agree because, looking over my shoulder here, it's like before I got everything in Wingspan, before Oceania, I had everything into one box. I had, the other stuff was, holding the cards, or I had a box that was basically just the extra stuff, like the extra card tray. But everything I could fit inside one box. But with Oceania, that's out the window, and now I've actually got it split up across 3 boxes somehow. I don't know how that happened, but that's what happened there. So, something that, I do appreciate that, he's up front. We're to try, but he doesn't know. But then also the assurance to us, that he always wants to make the very best game. He doesn't want to, put some kind of artificial barrier on, or artificial constraint on Elizabeth and her creativity. And if she feels strongly that something that doesn't fit belongs in one of the future expansions, that, that's going to happen. And I think as fans of the game, we should want that. And like I said, again, I very much appreciate the fact that he's like, listen, if this isn't for you because there's not 100% certainty that it is going to hold everything, then I totally understand you not being on board with it. And so, again, I just think that's really cool. But that was not the piece of the video, the live stream, that caught my attention the most. It was this bit right here.
I did play this past weekend. I played a game, the name of which I cannot mention yet. It is a game that we have not released yet, but I played the final version of it, and I was super excited. I'm usually really, really nervous the first time I play the final published version of one of our games, but this game, it works on every level for me, and I'm so excited to share it with you. And our announcement for this game will be coming in early February. So stay tuned for a few more weeks for our e-newsletter when I will announce our first new game of 2021.
So how's that sounding? I mean, pretty great, right? I mean, like, Jamie doesn't like the word hype, and I don't know, I feel like he doesn't necessarily get very excited about his games. I mean, obviously he likes his games, loves his games, and enjoys that we like them. But it just, for him to say, what was the exact quote? It works on every level for me. And I swear there was a twinkle in his eye. Like, he really wanted to share it with us. He's excited about this next title. I'm assuming Codename Gold. And I guess that just makes me really excited. So I'm wondering, was there anything there that caught your eye that you are really excited about in those videos? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, that is all I have for you today. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching, and take care of each other. All kinds of out of order. We do that sometimes. Bye.